Good evening and welcome. Welcome to my live stream here. I'm Bob Pace, and here we are tonight. I'm your host. We're going to fight CPS and stop taking our children. I'm glad all of you found me on Facebook. I have two shows on daily, and that has been going on since October of 2023. That's over a year and a half, 20 months, a year and a half. This is the month of June. It's almost, I think it's been probably longer than 20. Anyway, I do this show typically twice a day. In the evening at 6 o'clock, every evening I'm on at 7 o'clock. That's the West Coast time. That's the Pacific Coast. That's the state of California. Now I'm broadcasting live from a place called Surf City. And I'm 3 blocks from the beach. So it's a live podcast, and the ocean or the sea is my home. And as I say, my lifestyle has been evolved around the sea. Everything I do pertains to the sea. And I am so happy to be here again. It seems like it's only been a couple hours since this morning, but I'm here to help you with your CPS case and your children either being taken or about to be taken. I don't know what level that you're involved on, but I'm here to help you because can share you what's happened to me because I've been a victim. I've been a victim too. Now, being a victim doesn't mean all hope is lost, but you'll find that the CPS, there are rogue CPS entities. Not all CPS you can trust. Now, every county in every state of the United States has a CPS system, which I call CPS. And what my case has become, and I've been fighting them now for 15 years, I like to share what happened to me so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. Because if I knew what I know today, I would never have had CPS involved. I never would have had my children stolen or trafficking or harmed while they're in the social worker's custody. The social workers are a mixture of a group of people. Some are professional, some are not. Mine didn't have a high school education, let alone a college degree. I think all social workers should have a college degree in social work and then have a minor in clinical psychiatry because psychiatry, clinical psychiatry, and social worker goes hand in hand. So as a bare minimum that should have that, I think they should have a master or a PhD because the Child Protection Agency is a tough area to work in. The social workers, a lot of them are stressed out. It is hard. The retaining rate, the pay, and everything. I don't really harbor. What really bothers me, though, there are rogue CPS entities, not only in the United States, but around the world. I've talked to 23 countries, and 22 of them have been Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, then up in the Middle East has been Saudi Arabia and Libya. Then across to Africa, it's Liberia, Sudan, the Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Mozambique, and South Africa. Then up to Europe, it's England, Scotland, and Wales. Denmark, and Sweden. Then across the pond, it's North America, it's Canada, the United States, and every state. I've had someone call in from every state, including Washington, D.C. And then south of the border, Mexico. Then down south in South America, north of Brazil. On the east coast is Grenada. Then across the South Pacific, New Zealand, and then the land down under Australia. So that's 1,900 people that have contacted me so far, either through being on this live stream or texting me a message or being on a guest on my show or calling in when they get my number. Now, this live stream is also a very functional live stream. It's also supposed to react with you. It's not for me to sit here and talk and talk and talk for hours and hours. It's for me to help you with what is a 160 hearing, a 180 hearing. There are lots of things that you need to learn. And so by asking me questions, or another way is to text me a message. Now, the text me a message, it's very simple. You can do that here while you're in the room. To text me a message, it should be in the form of a comment or a question, and it should pertain to CPS. Please state your first name, your city or county, your state, and if you're outside the United States, your country. Also, please tell me about your CPS case from the beginning, the knock on the door, to where you're at. And this is the first time that you text in a message. Now, a second way to interact is to be a guest on the live stream. All you need to do is email our show producer. Her name is Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com with the date and time you want to be on our show. If you copy and paste that link onto your browser, and you'll be on what's called the StreamYard application. But it'd be a YouTube video. That's how it's transmitted via YouTube. I use the StreamYard application because of what you can do on it. It's more than just a typical YouTube channel. It's got a software application running on the YouTube channel. And if you get the link, you're knocked off, put the link back up again. The link is good for the entire show. Also, there's certain rules you need to follow, like there'll be no eating or smoking on the show, no profanity, and we do not use the names of children, judges, or social workers. Now, a third way is to interact, is to call in. My number is 626-698-0990. Now that will reach you, my phone will ring, and then we can talk. But I only can talk to one of you at a time. So if you also want to talk, you got to wait your turn or be a guest on my live stream. I can take up 9 of you as a guest on my live stream. With me, it makes 10. Now, I've had a max of about 4 people in the last year and a half at one time. There's another number on the screen that is my attorney's office. That's 888-888-6582. That's where you can contact Mr. Davis. And when you do contact the office, make sure you tell them that Bob Pay sent you. Introduce yourself and say, Bob sent me to get help. Now, the help you may want is maybe you need to know the schedule of the live streams for myself and others, like Vincent Davis. He has lots of live streams. They'll give you the time and the dates, the that we are transmitting. Also, you may want a guide, something that can help you with your case. We have a new guide out right now called the Grandparents Guide of how to get your grandchildren, guardianship of your grandchildren, a step-by-step guide geared for California, but it will work in other states, and parents can also look at besides grandparents. It's $9.99, and with my name, my last name Pace, P-A-C-E, all capitalized P-A-C-E, and the number 50, you get it for half off. So it's half of $9.99. It's under $5. So that's a pretty good deal for the guide. It's great for the grandparents because it explains about guardianship. Also, you can get other information about other lawyers that you might need somebody for divorce, or you might need somebody for real estate or immigration, etc., criminal, you know. But anyway, that's what the other number is. Now, besides, text me a message or being a guest or calling in, you can also do emojis. That's where you put up a thumbs up, a smiley face, or a heart. I do like stars, so send me stars. And please check below if you want to follow me. Also, if you want to be notified when I be on, check the notification button. Now, I have a long list of people that come in here regularly. I do have a long list of people. And I really encourage to come here as often as you can. Now, some of these people are with me this morning. I had Cruel, who's Felicia from Oxnard, California, has a case in Ventura County. Christina Reynosa from Las Vegas, Nevada, who's been on my show forever, who's trying to get her children back, and she also trying to help me out with things. She's a very good articulate writer and has a really brilliant brain. We got David called me in. I asked him to. Great. Good evening, David, and welcome to my live stream. What can I do to help you? Good to hear that. Good to hear that, David, and thank you for calling in. I know you got when's your next court date? I should know it by now, the 23rd. And has Vince text you some updates? You're excellent, David. You're proactive, and I'm glad that you did talk to Vincent Davis. And he's a busy man, but when I finally got him, he did respond, and so now he has responded. So you guys got to understand is that Vincent is a good attorney to have. I know some of you are using him right now, but I do help you on this live stream. I may not be a lawyer, but I know enough things that maybe gets me in trouble. I don't know, but my speak is from experience. See, I've been doing this for 15 years and talking to over 1,900 people, and I've learned a lot from you all out there. And I want you to rest assured that it is not impossible to win your case. It's not impossible to win your case, but you do need an attorney. And very fortunate, somehow David was able to come up with money for his attorney. That was really something else. See, David has a really hard case. His case is he's being accused of doing something to his daughter, improper behavior. I don't want to need to go into details about it, but he's innocent and he has proof, he can show that. But like anything else, I had a case of a couple in Santa Clarita last week that was accused of medical neglect. They were trying to traffic their child and take their child from them. But they called me and I told them what to do. Do not give up your child. Don't answer the door and get yourself an attorney. Also, get copies of paperwork from 3 hospitals. You see, what had happened was is that their daughter complained of pains in the chest area, and with the pains, it was causing discomfort. This is a 4-month-old child, and so the parents did the right thing. They went first to the pediatrician. That's what you always do, and the pediatrician said there really isn't anything they could really think of. She should go to the hospital. So they went to the hospital, and the hospital only did a sonogram. They didn't do an x-ray, which they should have. But they did a sonogram and they think, well, there's something wrong there. They're looking at the size of things. But a sonogram is good for maybe child development and other things. But anytime you have pains inside your body, you should have x-rays, an MRI, a sonic. You can have all 3 of those. Imagery. Because imagery will show organs and soft tissue. X-rays will show bone and objects that are in your system. And so they did that. Um, well, they were told at the first hospital they needed to have her appendix removed. Her appendix. Somehow the doctors or the hospital didn't know how to determine appendicitis. Appendix is the right side of your groin, not the left side. And what they were doing, whoops, I lost David. David, if you want, you can call me back. But anyway, to complete that story, is that they found um, that they went for a second opinion. You're entitled to a second opinion. And the second opinion showed them, um, well, that's where they met the social worker. The social worker overheard and thought the parents were not trying to help their child and steer away from any help. And that was not the case. Parents are entitled to second opinions. They were still trying to get help for the child. But this second hospital didn't do anything further and went on the recommendation that an insistence of a social worker telling the hospital that appendix has got to be removed. Since when are social workers doctors? Anyway, the parents were frightened because the social worker said they'd take your child away from you. So they went ahead with appendicitis. Well, after the appendix was removed, and the child at 4 months had to go through a lot of surgery, they came home and they still complained of severe pain in the groin area. So they went in a third time to the hospital, urgent care. Not urgent care, I'm sorry, the hospital emergency room. And this time they did x-rays. And lo and behold, they found little gallbladder stones, little tiny pebbles in the track of the gallbladder, meaning that they weren't coming out. They were too big. Sometimes the bile that's used by the gallbladder to digest food will harden over time. And so she had gotten the hard gallstones there. And they have to be excreted out. The only way they get out is through the urinary tract, and that's very painful because the urinary tract is not that big. Anyway, they saw the gallstones, so they ruled out appendicitis. But sad, the appendix was already removed. And so, okay, New York. All right. This is Bob Pace on the live stream, um, um, fighting CPS. How can I help you? Yes, yes, I know who you are now. Now I forgot your name. I know who you are now, but I forgot your name.
Lawyers, they are telling me in Florida that Canada still has jurisdiction over these kids. So sorry about the delay. U.S. courts can't do anything, so they gave the relative some paperwork so she could be entrusted with the kids, but that paperwork has not been domesticated in the U.S. because it's not been certified. So, sorry about the noise. I might get disconnected for a short while.
Okay, it's all right.
My question is, how do I get rid of the jurisdiction over these kids? Because their case is still open. They live there since January. The kids are not there.
Wait, you said the letters CPR? Oh boy, we lost her. That was Krissa from New York, who has a case where she was on vacation in Canada and she was staying at a shelter because it was cheaper than staying at a vacation place, I guess. Anyway, the Canadian CPS got involved and questioned why her children weren't in school or she wasn't a Canadian citizen. She's a U.S. citizen. And the embassy in the U.S. didn't help her. Let me see if I can get her back here.
We got disconnected.
Well, I didn't know if I was supposed to call you back, but you said the letters CPR. What do you mean by CPR? Oh, TPR. I heard the word CPR. It got confused. Who is trying to terminate your parental rights? What court? Now, why would I still don't understand why Canada got jurisdiction? If you're on vacation and you're staying at a shelter home, how did Canada get jurisdiction if you're not a Canadian citizen or your children not a Canadian citizen? No, I'll try here again. I will try again.
Hi, thanks for calling. Sorry I can't answer your call right now. Please leave your name, your number, and the time you called, and the reason, and I'll be sure to get back to you at my earliest convenience. Take care.
Bob Pace. And oh, it looks like you called me again. Okay. Hello, this is Bob Pace again. Yeah. Are you Krissa? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. My question is, um, okay, let's start off in the beginning. Is the mother of the children a U.S. citizen? Asking you, is the mother a U.S. citizen? Are you a U.S. citizen? Okay. Is the father a U.S. citizen? Is the father U.S. Is the father in part? Is the father part of the? Well, CPS may have involved because maybe the father is a Canadian citizen because they have no right to take children. They're U.S. citizens. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, so in these three children, the father's not involved whatsoever. Okay, I'm sorry. I am asking you that question because somehow Canada thinks one of your three children or all three of your children are Canadian citizens. Um, well, then how? Then my question is, how do they have jurisdiction over three children? They're U.S. citizens, and you're a U.S. citizen. They can't take children. They can't. Then what I want you to do is I want you to call Doge. I want you to call Doge. Send them an email because what's happened is they've done something illegal. And I believe that people do illegal things all the time. People do illegal things. Somehow they have possession of all your children through illegal means. If they are U.S. citizen and the embassy, I can't. If I call the embassy right now, they're closed. Have you tried to talk to the embassy at the federal at Washington D.C.? And what did the embassy say at Washington D.C.? Well, then you're going to have to go back to Canada. You're going to have to do the hard thing. Go back to Canada, hire a Canadian lawyer, and get your kids back. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know what else to do except maybe call President Trump because right now he's sending out troops here to Los Angeles. Well, Doge, okay, well, you're going to have to go the hard way. You're going to have to go the hard way because either, well, then what you have to do, okay, have you called the FBI? Have you called the FBI to report? Yeah. No, no, you told me you did the embassy. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to sorry to help you. I have well, I tried to answer your question with another question. Okay. All right. Okay.
The end of this month, to say her rights because she hasn't had contact with her kids for 3 months. There's a Florida judge. I filed in court for a Florida judge to allow me to have contact with my kids because his aunt is keeping them from me. And he's ordered no contact and gave her 30-day temporary custody for no reason. Like,
No, no, you have to
I've always had contact with the kids in Florida. So for whatever reason, Judge Christopher Spurskinsky in Seminole County, Florida, has chosen this very wrong act of legally keeping me by a court order, family court, away from my children unjustifiably, like no contact. And all that's going to do is empower the children. So I'm hoping to get CPS in Florida involved to overrule what this judge in Seminole County is doing. And if I'm get CPS in Florida involved, I'll say, listen, these are my children. Canada did something without my consent. There was an arrangement made, and now my aunt has my children. Okay? She's not allowing me contact with my children. That's severing the familiar bond between parent and child. And that is destructive for a kid. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that the CPS in Florida can exert jurisdiction over these children. And if they decide to take them from my relatives, then perhaps that will stop Canada from taking them later at their hearing at the end of this month. If they're in the care and custody of CPS in Florida, I'm hoping they will try to work with me to return the kids back to me. But from what I talked to a lawyer, they said it's possible that if CPS in Florida takes these kids from your relatives, they may realize that, oh, these kids have an open case in Canada. And being that they have an open case in Canada, we can't take them. Or if they did take them, we have to like let go of our control because they still have jurisdiction over these kids. So I'm wondering, can CPS in Florida act as a way for me, if I get them involved, for the kids to get out of the care of my relative in Florida, if I let them know that all of these things are going on? Or will they just pass my kids around? Like once they get in their control in Florida, then I lose control of them entirely, because they might just ship them to Canada and say, you know, you have an open case there. So we're going to send them there because they have
the problem you have is something called money. You see, people in Canada and the social workers in Canada and what they did that are receiving money. They're receiving money because the federal government in Washington, D.C. sends billions of dollars to the state, and the state in turn sends millions to the CPS agency. And what the problem is that you don't have the money that they have. And you've encountered a rogue or bad element in Canada. I know Canada, CPS, there are pockets of corruptness. I know that for a hand because I've talked to already 10 people from Canada that have had turbulent times with their children. Especially the First Nation people. There's indigenous people in Canada. They're called the First Nation Indians, and they have been persecuted. So the problem you're fighting, and if you haven't realized now, is the $1 trillion business that CPS makes. Every time a child is in captivity, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in Florida, people are making money. Your relatives get money for taking your kids. The CPS in Florida gets money. The CPS in New York gets money. The CPS in Canada gets money because somehow someone has missed the boat here. I only suggested that contact the FBI or the embassy because your rights have been totally violated. Okay. How close are you to the New York embassy of the U.S.? How close are you to the New York embassy? Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up here is you need to go to some embassy. It doesn't have to be Washington, D.C. It could be New York. You need to go to embassy of the United States and say that your kids were stolen. Use the word stolen and given to a family down in Florida and decided, and you have to also mention U.S. citizens because you told me you're a U.S. citizen, they're a U.S. citizen. Canada has no authority of doing that act. What they can do is they can turn you and your kids over to the U.S. and the U.S. would take it from there. Canada and the U.S. have agreement that anytime there's something called legal matter going on, it'd be like us taking a Canadian citizen in the United States. You know, we can't. But I don't know what else to tell you because I say that you can report a missing person. I can't be a crystal ball and tell you the chances are that the CPS in Florida will gain control over your kids. Because right now, the CPS is not involved in Florida, right? Okay, what about the CPS in New York? They're not going to get involved. They're not going to get involved because you don't have a case with them.
For the case against me, you know, they want to speak me, and at this point, I haven't said anything about.
Well, maybe what you could do is maybe tell the CPS in Florida that your children have been stolen by family members, stolen by your aunt. Give your aunt's name.
These three they say there's a pending open case against these kids. We can't take them into our care
Unless they're Canadian citizens. If they're U.S. citizens, if they're U.S. citizens, CPS can get involved. You need to stress upon very important wording. You need to say U.S. citizens. Well, apparently Canada doesn't know that they're U.S. citizens, and apparently, no, they don't go after U.S. citizens. You would be the first. You would be the first case. You'd be the first case, and I guarantee if you contact Donald Trump, he'd get your children. And do you can go to? Have you tried to go to a congressman or a representative in your state of New York? Have you tried to go to them? And what did they?
It is. They have no control over what the embassy does, and good luck, they'll take over. And she was just bottomed out. So whoever spoke to her or contacted her, it's like there's something going on behind the scenes that in which they're allowing this to happen.
Well, that's because they know that you don't have the money. They know you don't have the money because I guarantee if you had say had 100,000, you're fighting people that deal in millions and trillions of dollars. How are you going to fight them at $100 or $20 or $1? I'm sad to say that there are all kinds of issues you're up against. But I can guarantee, have you gone to the news media? Because this would make a really good news story. A mother is frantic about her children, her U.S. children, being kidnapped by the Canadas. I can guarantee they'll make front page news. Have you talked about calling CBC? Well, you need to do it on the phone or walk in. You can walk into, you live in New York. New York must have an outlet for CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, and CNN News. Those are four big newswise organizations. And if you walk in the door and say you want to speak to an editor to report a crime, they would certainly give you the time of day. But the problem is when you email it or make a phone call, it goes in a round file. You never get past first base. Now, I know you're close to Washington, D.C., where you live. You may have to go to Congress, up the Capitol, and want to speak at Congress. Or you may want to go to the White House and say, I want to speak to Donald Trump. lady. Well, okay. I lived in Arlington, Virginia. I would go to the White. You're giving up before you tried. You're giving up before you tried. You're making assumptions. I'm, do you want me to help you? Do you, but it takes time. Well, because they think maybe I'm the only intelligent person to listen to you. Well, okay. I mean, okay. I used to live in Arlington, Virginia. I used to drive by the White House every day. I've been in the White House. I've talked with President Ford. I've talked with President Johnson. I spoke to President Nixon personally because my dad was stationed at the Pentagon. He was the executive officer at the Pentagon. He's a Navy admiral, and I was able to do a lot of these things, do it. But I also know that lay people can do the same thing. It's just how persistent you are. I know they don't respect you. Well, it depends. Well, it depends. Yeah. Please do not use the foul language on the phone. I know that you're hard on yourself and you consider yourself a black woman. I don't think of you black or white. I don't think of you as rich or poor. You are a warm woman. You're a mother of your children. But you got to let me work with you. If you want to counter me every time I suggest something, I don't know who else can help you. Because if you don't talk, I mean, if well, you are because I've suggested you the news media. I suggested a senator. I suggested a representative.
Look at the situation. Reporters stand in front of the microphone and for minutes, they just say, here, email this to email, we'll put your stories out, producers to reach out if we want to. And then that's the reception I get. I've done that many and many
Well,
times.
you've done it once. I don't know if you did it. If you did it 5 times, have you ever done it? Okay, well then I guess I'm helpless helping you because if you said you've done everything and you tried wholeheartedly to do everything, well, that's the only thing I can do is give you an encouragement to keep trying, to keep encouraging. You see, what I've learned from life is sometimes it takes 1, 2, 5, 10 times to, answer a comment or something like that. Now, I know you have an obstacle because you're black and you're a woman. Women and blacks are really treated bad. Okay, you're also alone. Okay, but the Native American Indians are so suppressed. They're alone too. And they have gone through a lot of things with their children. And I'm sorry that your children are sitting there. At least you know where your children are. There are people on my show that don't know where their children are. Felicia from Oxnard, who is in Ventura County Court, has 2 babies she hasn't seen for almost 6 months. There's a girl in Otsego, New York, near you, that has seen her son, and her son has been missing for a long time. You're not the only person. You're not the only person that is a black lady because I have several black ladies. There's a really great lady who's a black lady in Brooklyn, New York, named KK Richardson, who has also gone. No, no. I mean, she is right now. Her family's turned against her, and now she's being charged with termination rights. The family has turned against this black lady, and now she's going. She is now found that she's guilty of neglect, and the next court hearing is going to be termination of parental rights. Um, and I'm sorry, I'm just trying to relate stories. Like you can talk to KK Richardson. She's on Monday night at 5:30 New York time. If you're in New York and it's 5:30 on Monday nights, well, what is she not? I mean, my problem is that I try to everything so every stone is not unturned. I've done some crazy things. Like I thought my Seiko watch was lost in the ocean. I dove and found my Seiko watch. Everybody says I was nuts. But I went down, free dive 10 feet, and found my Seiko watch in the sand. And people said that's a needle in a haystack. I lost a contact lens in a swimming pool and found it. Things that seem impossible, I've somehow, my determination kicks in. My determination kicks in. I lost my children and I sold my home and got my children back. Exactly. I tried a court appointed attorney. It didn't work. I tried a, yeah, I know. I tried a court appointed attorney. It didn't work. I tried fighting the director of the Orange County CPS. It didn't work. So it didn't work right there. Well, I've been fighting since 2010. I'm not in here in competition. I'm in here to help you with any idea I can come up with because I care for you as a human being and as respect you as a mother of 3 children who wrongly was taken advantage of. And I want to correct that. And the only reason why I suggested Doge, is because 2 days ago I was talking to social service. And before I could talk to the social service worker, a person came on the line and said, I'm a supervisor. We're investigating social services. And they didn't say they're from Doge, but I said, these people are from Doge. They're now investigating social services all over the country. And so what they've done now is that I've seen where this Doge, and I thought, well, gee, that maybe is a good sign. Maybe they do help. On the webpage at Doge, they say they'll take anybody that wants to work for them. It's a salary position. You can apply to Doge. Maybe that's a way you could give the insight about your case. Apply for them, get a job with them, and then blow the whistle on the Canadians. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm against Canadians. I think they're people too. But I am against social service social workers that take advantage of parents because they're low income, because they're black, because it didn't say they wouldn't take it. If you've been to the website, there's a part that says positions, and it says Donald Trump is looking for anybody with backgrounds in the following areas. They didn't mention that you had to be rich or have any money to work for them. They said they offer career positions with salary jobs, meaning that is going to be a job that's not an hourly job. I don't know if they're $50,000 an hour or $100,000 an hour. I don't know if they are $50,000 a year or $100,000. Salary means it's not hourly. You're going to work for a fee. Now, it's a government job. They're not going to pay the same thing you would get in private sector. But if they offer you a job for $50,000 and then you get in on the job and then you question what's happened to your children, then you're inside the system. I'm just trying to come up with ideas for you. That's all I'm trying to do. You said you need a job. Right now, Doge is offering jobs. Now, I know if you're in California, right down the street from me is McDonald's. They'll start you at $22 an hour. Of course, California is really expensive. Jobs are out there. It's just hard to get the kind of job you want, but you can probably work any job. McDonald's job. I'm trying to get my babies back. Well, you're going to need money to get your babies back because it takes money to fly to Canada. Well, if you had $100,000 right now, I'd say get a Canadian lawyer, and a Canadian lawyer for 100 grand would get your children out of foster care. Okay, I have now talked to you I only have because they have no jurisdiction in Florida. Florida has no jurisdiction over Canada. They don't want to get involved. Now, what city in Florida? What city in Florida? Is it the Gainesville area? Where's it in Florida? You replace them. You replace them. You replace them. Well, if it's in the United States, you go to the state capitol and replace the judge. If you have a corrupt judge and you're in the United States, you go to the state capitol and ask for a change of judge. Yes, it can be done. Well, here, you just put in the word. I can search on the internet. You go to Florida, and then you do CPS, and change a judge. I don't know every state, but hold on. I suddenly have lost all my viewers because I haven't talked to them when I'm talking to you. Change. FORBA.
Maybe they zoned out. They zoned out. I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm trying to find in Florida a CPS change of judge. Okay, we'll see what that tells me. All right. To change a judge in a CPS case in Florida, you can follow these steps. 1. File a notice of change of judge. This involves following the steps outlined in Rule 42F. Now, what does Rule 42F say? How to switch judges in Florida's family court. If a judge has not yet ruled on any contested issue and the requested meets certain time requirements, you are entitled. Yeah. Well, I'm talking right now about how to make a judge Rule 42. Can I finish? You are entitled to a change of judge. All you have to do is file a notice of change of judge by following the steps of Rule 42F. If a judge does not rescue themselves, you must ask the court for a different judge to decide the motion and determine whether these should be a change. Some states have different options for requesting a change to the judge assigned in a child custody matter. The outcome of your request will depend whether the situation falls with one of the rule subsections. You see, now you're talking to me in a lawyer. Yeah, go ahead. I'm talking. We really should have a lawyer on this. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm listening. Yes.
To change the he's ruling his own case. He's getting the motions that I'm putting in, saying to remove yourself. I would like to change you for this and this reason, bias, prejudice, whatever. And he's ruling on himself and saying, no, I'm not willing to remove myself. So I need to. How do I get my request to change the judge to not go to that same judge and ask him to remove himself because he's corrupt? I need to ask someone else. How do I get my ruling that I'm filing in court to be answered by someone else at the court?
Well, that's where you're going to need. That's what we have lawyers for. To answer your question, it would take me probably hours as a layperson to look that up. Yes, it would take me hours as a layperson to look that up. I'm not a lawyer, okay? So I would think you could go to somebody, yeah, a lawyer, or you would go to the state Supreme Court. Have you gone to the Supreme Court of Florida? If you go to the state Supreme Court, you might be able to get your request done. Your problem is you probably went to a local judge in Florida in your CPS matter. You don't deal with the local judges, you file in Supreme Court. See, if you file in Supreme Court, which is at the state level, that's the capital of Florida, then you might get something there. You might get something there. Did you understand what I told you to do? You you need to take your petition to the state Supreme Court.
Yes, the Supreme Court is Supreme Court is and
Okay, I'm going to pause for 1 minute. I do need to address the people that come into my room, so I apologize. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Don't disappear yet. Don't disappear there. Yeah, right. I want to say hello to Joshua Waddell. I have no idea where you're from, but if you can tell me, Joshua Water, this is not directed to you. I am doing a live stream. I need to talk to other people, but I also want to talk to you. Can you pause for a moment and listen? Okay, Crystal Gooseberry. I don't know where you're from, but hi. I'd like to hear more what you have to say. Stacy Milo Massey. The CPS is a horror story. I know it is. They took 5 of my grandkids. I believe you. Whereabout are you from, Stacy? Stacy says they also tried to take other grandchildren. That's awful. Daniel Wall, I know you're from Georgia. I'm doing okay. I'm glad to see you, but I really could use your help to be on my show as a co-host so you can answer these people that are coming when I'm talking to someone on the phone. Bob, how is you and your family? They're hanging in there. Everything okay? Well, we're struggling. We're still struggling. But thank you, Danielle. Now, Navo Malik, it's not on meta.com. This angle was never shown on the news. Here's what I caught. So she has a link to have me up here. I can't open links here on my page. So now can you email that to me or text it to me on my number? Text it to me, Navaya Malik. And hello, Tony the Tiger from New York. Tony the Tiger is from Ostenago, New York. I'm speaking to somebody from New York. Krissa, anything I ask her to do, she's asking to help you. Tony the Tiger is asking, how can she help you from Otsego, New York? Then saying I need to be in some kind of drug treatment and mental health, though it's not even an issue in this court case. Why is my lawyer asking things that CPS would bring up? My son may be trafficking. And then she says, Tony the Tiger, she says, from Buffalo, New York, psychiatric hospital to Darby, Pennsylvania. They took her son from a psychiatric hospital to Darby, Pennsylvania. And that is awful. That is awful. That is so, so awful. But anyway, I want to thank everybody listening in there. Now back to you, ma'am. One last question, and I'm going to have to close up here because I've already been talking an hour. Go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am. Krissa from New York, go ahead. All I hear is static background. I'm ready to sign off. Are you have one last question? Yes, I'm talking to you. Yes, I can hear a lot of background sound. Yes, I can, but a lot of background noise. I have to yell, and I don't like yelling. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can. You're repeating yourself. Hello, hello back. Hello. I'm here listening.
CPS worker is wanting to, thank you. CPS worker is wanting to, yes, the CPS worker, one of them is asking for a psych evaluation. And I've done a psych evaluation in another state. Can I use that evaluation from one state to give to the CPS agency in another state?
Yes, or you can do a new one yourself in that state that the CPS is asking. Did you hear my answer? I heard you. Did you hear my answer? Hello? Well, okay. You don't have to do a psychiatric evaluation. What you need is a lawyer, and a lawyer will stand up for you. Your problem is you're trying to be a pro se, and pro se is not going to work. Your matter involves a Canadian country. Your matter involves the U.S. Embassy. Your matter involves the state of New York and the state of Florida. And your 3 kids are suffering because of that. And you're suffering. But I do have to end my show. So if you want to talk further, can you call me tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock my time? That's 10 o'clock Pacific time. And I told you don't have to do it, but you need an attorney to fight the court. You won't be able to fight them about that. Yes, I do have to sign off. I want to thank Krista from New York who called in with a very extremely international case. I want to thank Tony, the tiger from Ostanego. Yes, I'll be back here again tomorrow at 10 o'clock and tomorrow night at 7. I want to thank Nevari Malik, Daniel Watt, Crystal Gooseby, Jonathan Walters. I want to thank you all for being a part of my live stream. And it's sometimes very frustrating because so many people are being hurt. The last lady sounds like a dear mother, but because she's a female, because she's black and she has no money, they're taking advantage of her situation. And her 3 kids are stuck down in Florida with other family members. So anyway, best of luck to you all. Please listen to the ending of my show because we have a message for Vincent Davis. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Do not give up on your children. God bless you, and good night.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce him. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your faith in